Good evening, everyone. Rigby here. I hope you're all well and everything. It's good to be back commentating SRL 1 again. Missed last week because my internet decided that it didn't want to work for the whole weekend. But we are back for another race. It's been an action-packed day, first and obviously the real F1. And then it's been an action-packed couple of races from Tier 4 to Tier 2. And now we're at the penultimate race, which is of course the top tiers race around the streets of Baku. So I'm looking forward to this one. This one should be good. And we will just get into it. First I'll have a qualifying session to get through, so we'll see whether it's going to be dry or not at all. I'm streaming on my PlayStation today, not from my PC, so I can't show you the standings, but I can tell you the standings at least. So, Too Late Mate's got himself a very handsome lead now at the front. He's now got a good, trying to do quick maths here, but 49 points I think it is. Lead to Max Strong, who's in second. Joe's in third, Sten in fourth. Levan in fifth, Goat in sixth, and then it goes down from there. So Too Late Mate looking more and more likely to retain his grip on the SRL Tier 1 title. But the cars come back onto the track, or the car's jostling for track position. Looking at the tyres, looks like a couple of people are opting to start their qualifying session on mediums. That is Harry, Cully and Sten. Although I imagine that is just to get a feel for the track, get a few laps in, and then they will set their fastest laps on soft tyres. That's what you would think anyway. Yep, everything's all sorted. So, Baku, what do we know about it? Well, it's a street circuit, which means there's not a lot of room to make mistakes on. Usually if you make a mistake around tracks like this, you're in the wall. And you're gonna make contact with someone, so it really does test the driver's proper ability around tracks like this, in my opinion. This is where you find out who are the great drivers and who are the good drivers, if you like. And there are plenty of great drivers in this tier, as Witcher comes across the line to start his lap first of all. But yeah, there's two DRS zones. We're on one, which is on one at the moment. And then there's another one right at the end of the lap on the start finish straight. And those are really the two places that you overtake, because it's so narrow. You can't really even dive bomb anyone really into the corners, because there just is no room at all. So you are just gonna have to try and get you're gonna try and stick with someone as close to them as you can throughout the whole lap, and then get ready for the long DRS straights at the end to get the overtake done. But that is easier said than done, because of course, I did that, apologies. With dirty air and stuff, it can be following a car can be very tricky. But anyway, we're still on board here with Witcher, who's going to cross the line first. It's not been a decent run so far. The yellow flag's in sector 2. I'm not sure who that's for. I think it's Felix Pantera, actually, who becomes our first retirement of this qualifying session. Seems to have lost it in the castle section, so it's a shame for him. But Witcher is going to come across the line here. And the first lap time is going to be a 1:38.7. Govan Zaiti next across the line, 1:37.9. He beats that time, so he goes provisional pole for now. LT Rocker will be next across the line. He's going to be slower to 1:39.1 for him. Maiden Turkey is next, 1:39.1. Joe Royal invalidates his lap, so he's not going to set a time. I think it's Yari next across the line in the Red Bull. In fact, he could jump straight into the pits. Dark RT21 is going to cross the line for 1:40. It's too late, mate. Our current leader in the championship is set at 1:38.1. And that is beaten straight away by Govan Zaiti for 1:37.9. So he takes provisional pole for now. Anyways, Harry Cully gets out of the way after invalidating his lap time to Wei Sheng, who's rushing to get back to the pits, I believe. I know the person commentating. I'm friends with him. You are indeed, Mano, bro. How are we doing? But yeah, after the first, F1's first run at qualifying, a couple of invalidations, but Govan Zaiti in that Mercedes, about a tenth or two ahead of Too Late Mates for 1:37.9. So that's a cracking effort from the GOAT. Dark is setting us time. Let's see if anyone else is very quickly. No one else is, so we will stay on board with the Dark RT21 for now. Currently in the Haas. Doesn't run wide, keeps it nice and steady. And now here comes the long DRS zone that's just coming up, where you can go flat out. You have to get as close to the board as you can just to maintain the speed. And Dark RT21 does just that, and it's going to be a 1:39.1, which is good enough for P5 for him, for himself. Penna is going straight into the pits, I believe. Wei Sheng, I think, might be doing a lap. I think he is doing a lap. But he just invalidated his lap, so that's a shame for the Williams. Yari is on an out lap. Max Chong in sector 1. Sten in sector 2 has just gone purple in the first sector. On medium tyres as well, so that's insane. Showing a bit of his pace. A little bit slow coming out of that corner, but it doesn't lose too much time on the curb, so not too bad. I think Sam might have backed out for this actually. I don't think he's pushing too hard on this lap. I think Mohamed Salah is overrated. Absolutely not, man. Ooh, Stench running a little bit wide there. That'll cost him a bit of time. Oh, very close to the wall. Very brave from the Ferrari driver. And as predicted, he is actually going to jump into the pits. Joe Royal is now setting our lap time. Yari's just a bit further behind. Aero Blake is just a bit up the road from Joe, I think. If I'm not wrong. In fact, no, I'm not. So we'll stay on board with the Ferrari drivers. It's just yet to set a lap time so far. As interestingly, it looks like Yari has come out on the medium tyres as well. So, that's very interesting. Of course, if he was to get into the top 10 on those mediums, he would probably have to do will either go medium to hard, or he's thinking of doing a 2-stop. It's a very interesting strategy call from Yari there, potentially. But Aero Blake gets DRS. Going like a bullet down the start-finish straight, and it's 1:39 for him, and that's good enough for P5. A very nice lap from Aero Blake, that. Cheers, man, bro. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Harry Cully on us. on a lap at the moment, as is Sheng. We'll jump aboard with Joe Royle, just finishing his lap, maybe getting a bit of a tow there, and he's good enough for P3. It's a 1:38.1. He's only 2 tenths or so off the GOAT, so that's a phenomenal stuff from Joe, who just keeps improving week in, week out, does Joe Royle. So we'll stay on board with, we won't stay on board with him actually, because I think he's had it off, so he's going a bit slow. Full throb, I had to avoid a car there, but he stayed out of the way. Who's next to cross the line? We've got LT Rocker. So we'll stay on board with him, currently in P7 at the moment. 1:39.1 is his fastest. It's pretty tight between 4th and 8th place, 4th and 10th place. Only 3 or 4 tenths separating those bunch of cars. As Rocker runs wide, and that is invalidating his lap. Meanwhile, made in Turkey, currently in P11 at the moment, as Penner has retired, so I think he's actually lost it, which is a shame for him, so he becomes our second retirement of this qualifying session. So the two Red Bulls pretty close to each other. Yari not improving here, and he has just invalidated his lap, as has Made in Turkey, so the commentator's curse strikes both Red Bull drivers. Meanwhile, Carcraft goes purple into Sector 1. It's always the middle sector around here that you know, the castle, with the castle section and whatnot, that you really need to nail if you want to get a really good lap in. That's what separates all the drivers, it's who gets the better middle sector. As Carcraft has to slam on the brakes to avoid going into the wall, which he does. Carcraft, we know how quick he was last season, how quick he can be, so we wouldn't discount him from putting in a good lap. As they're too late, mates, goes provisional pole for 1:37.5. Phenomenal stuff from Too Late Mate. Meanwhile, Carcraft across the line. Can he challenge that time from Too Late Mate? He's close. He's not close enough. It's a 1:37.6. Good enough for the first to be on the front row, though. Meanwhile, Sten coming on to just on sector 3 now. He comes on to the start-finish straight. Currently at last place at the moment. Hasn't set a lap time. He is going to set one this time. Where is it going to put Sten here as he comes across the line? It's a 1:38.7. He's up to P7. So Max Strong in an out lap at the moment. Is a goat of anxiety on one? No, he's actually on a lap at the moment. He's a couple of attempts up, and Max Strong really might help his teammate out here, as he's got a huge slipstream off his teammates here, which will really help him as he comes across the line. And the goat of anxiety, it's P2. It's a 1:37.5. It is two. I can't. It's a 200th of a second. That's mental. Between him and Too Late Mate, and the two Mercs definitely playing the team game there to help the GOAT get back onto the front row. We've got just under 5 minutes left of qualifying now, so the drivers will be finishing their second stints and jumping into the pits for their final set of fresh tyres. And Dark 1831 is going to use Carcraft here to get a huge slipstream as well, and that might really help him. He's currently P12 at the moment, is the Haas driver, and it's 1:38.4, and he's up to P7, so goes up by 4 or 5 places. Nice little improvement from him. Max Strong's on sector 2. Is he the furthest out? I think he might be. So we're going to stay on board with Max, who's currently 7/10 up at the moment on his previous best. So this is going to be a big improvement from Max if he can keep it nice and tidy, and does. Unfortunately, there's no one in front to help Max get a slipstream. But either way, this is going to put him up a few places, definitely. As he comes across the line, it's going to be a 1:38 for Max, and he's up to onto the second row, up to P4. Meanwhile, Yari, currently in P15. He's not had the best of qualifying so far. Let's see what he can do on this lap. LTOC is on and an out lap at the moment, so we can stay on board with Yari for now. Slamming on the brakes, nicely done from Yari there. Rides the curb really nicely. And it was a very good sector from Yari. That was a purple sector too. And this could be a monstrous lap from the Red Bull driver. Let's see what he can do here. He's coming up to the line, DRS open. And for Yari, it's going to be a 1:37.9, and he knocks Max Strong to P5. Good stuff from Yari. And I don't think he's going to come round again, so that probably is the fastest he's going to go. Meanwhile, his teammates is just coming around the final corner as well. So if let's see what he's going to do. Made in Turkey, it's a 1:38.5. He's up to P10 with that. And so we're just under 2 minutes left of qualifying. You really need to be out the pits now if you're going to set another lap time. As Too Late Mate has been given a 5-place grid penalty for a collision with Witcher. That's incredible. The two teammates in Alfa Romeo have collided, and it's, well, Too Late Mate's not going to improve. I think he's got damage. And that's incredible. I wonder what just happened there. As LT Rocker comes across around the final corner now. What time is he going to set? Currently in P14. He is going to improve, but he just goes up to P11. He's just outside those top 10 positions. Yari has invalidated his lap, so it's not going to count. Max John's on another out lap. The other Red Bull driver, Made in Turkey, has retired from the session at the end of his qualifying. Joe Royal in Sector 2. Dark RT21's actually gone off to the runoff area, so that's the end of his qualifying, definitely. Who's the furthest along the track at the moment? I think it could be Joe. I could be wrong. I can see a red dot a bit further up the road. But no, I think it is Joe. So we're going to stay on board with Joe Royal for now. I'm currently in P6. As, what's happened to him here? That's the end of Joe's qualifying. I don't know whether he ran out of fuel or whatnot, but goes off to the runoff area, and that is the end of his qualifying. So Harry Colley goes past him. Can he improve on his time and get up a couple more positions? As that is the end of qualifying now, so everyone that crosses the line, that will be their final run. As Vice Sheng has just done a 1:37.1, and out of nowhere has took provisional pole right off of Too Late Mate. Incredible. As we're on board with the McLaren of Harry Cully. He's not going to improve at all, so that is the end for him. Govern's eyes are going very slow. Yeah, he's not improving. LT Rocker, Sten is still out there. He could, he's not going to improve at all. He's far too far back. Frarbai's still out on track, as is Aero Blake, so we'll keep an eye on these two. But what a lap from Vice Sheng YT. steals pole positions, absolutely smashes it. SRL Tier Rocket, that's not a great place to retire at all. Very dangerous indeed. Luckily Fraubai missed it, but he did tap the wall, which is going to affect his pace at the end here. As Aero Blake has invalidated his lap, so Fraubai is the last person to come across the line, I believe. Let's see what he can do. Currently in P14, and he goes up a couple positions and finishes up in P12. And I believe that is the end of qualifying. And the big story is Wei Sheng taking pole position out from absolutely nowhere and smashed it by about 3 or 4 attempts as well. Phenomenal stuff. Sorry guys, so very quickly, obviously Wei Sheng takes pole position, 2 late mates on P2, but he's got 5 grace bid lid penalty with that collision with Witcher, so he'll start P7. Gilman's IT and Carcraft on the 2nd row, the 2 Dutchmen of Yari and Max together on the 3rd row, Joe and Harry on the 4th, Witcher and Dart complete the top 10, and everyone else, I'm sorry, I ran out of time to read out your names. But let's see if it's going to be a wet or dry race. It's going to be well dry. So it's going to be, looks like it's going to be a 1-stop with the potential of a 2-stop if people think they've got the pace for it. But it would be, you'd have to be really, really quick to make that work, I feel. I would suspect that everyone outside the top 10 is going to start on hards, or the majority, but we will wait and see. Let us know in the chat who your favourites are to win this race, who your top 3 is and all that, and who you are rooting for. I will let you know my predictions as we get further on into the formation lap. But wow, that was a very good qualifying. I do apologise, I think I missed like every single provisional pole lap there. It's quite hard to keep an eye on everyone on the track where it's only one person. That's the beauty of having having that extra person with you, is that you're less likely to miss things. So do apologise again, guys. But yep, in terms of tyres, obviously, so the top 9 are on soft. Maiden Turkey is on hards, which is strange. Did he qualify on hard tyres? That's insane if he did. But Fraubai, LT Rocker, Sten, Aeroblick, and Weiss. Wait, what? Why is Weiss Sheng at the back? What is going on here? Okay, I'm confused. Okay, I'm really confused here. What's happened? Who's that I can see at the back? It's not... Who can I see right at the back there? It's Witcher. Is it Witcher? Yeah, it is Witcher. What's he doing all the way at the back? I'm so confused, guys. Why is Weiss Sheng at the back now? Is it just because he was late starting on the formation lap that's put him to the back? I, I don't know. Rigby is absolutely baffled, but either way, Weisheng is at the bat now, so it's the Goat of Anxiety that is on pole position. It looks like because Weisheng's joined halfway through quali, it's put him to the back. I'm confused. Oh well. Very weird. But anyway, we'll put that behind us as oh my word, Carcraft. Oh, thank goodness he ghosted there through Goat of Anxiety. But anyway, the cars are lining up on the grid. Oh, I don't like showing that. That can be on, that's fine, all that stuff. But as the cars are all lined up, just about lined up on the grid, we are ready for the start of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix here in Tier 1. So let's see what happens, as we have 2, we have 3, 4, 5 red lights. And away we go here in Baku. As the standings all of a sudden mess up. Great starts from the Mac. Ooh, and there's a little bit of contact between the Red Bull and McLaren potentially there. I look like the Red Bull tried to go on the outside and he just didn't have any room. And there's instance going on in the back. And Weisheng's got himself a 5-second penalty for colliding with Aero Blake. And what the heck has just happened at the back of the grid? And we have a virtual safety car, not even in the first couple of corners. Penna's been given a 5-second penalty for colliding with Sten as well. What is going on? I don't know. A CBA with all this nonsense. But all the cars now have to slow down and stick to a certain delta under the virtual safety car, although it looks like it's gone quite fast. I don't know if we are actually under virtual safety car conditions. So I think it's just a glitch because, yep, it has gone away, so, yeah. Apologies, guys. So, Govan Anxiety still leads off the start. Carcraft's in P2. Let's have a look at position changes. Not penalties, position changes. So, Yari and Max, I don't know what's happened to them, but they've dropped way down the grids. But Carcraft just gaining a little bit on the mark at the moment. As Carcraft ERS opened up, you'll get a bit of DRS as well. Can he get past the mark here? And it looks like he can, and he is now in P1 as Too Late Mate's now got onto the back of the mark as well. As another DRS zone opens up, Carcraft just lost it. Just got a little bit out of shape there. Did the Goat of Anxiety. And he's now, that's going to allow Carcraft, sorry, to the Goat of Anxiety. He might be able to get past him. He's going to have to go the long way round. But Carcraft, just with that inside line, just manages to hold on to the position. Too Late Mate is coming now, and the goal is having to defend a little bit against Alfa Romeo now. And here he comes. He's all over the back of the goat now. And he'll open up his ERS, and before he even needs DRS, he's going to go for a move. And he'll fly past and take P2 off the Goat of Anxiety. Too Late Mate now has his sights set on the McLaren of Carcraft by looks of things. This Harry Coyle looks like he's having a few connection issues, but looks like he's rejoined. And Carcraft is going to jump into the pits and leave Too Late Mate to take the lead of the race. So he's going to try the undercut by looks of things. And the yellow flag's in sector 3. I'm not sure who it is. I think it's I'm not sure who it is what's going on, but I'm going to stay on board with this battle between FaZe and Made in Turkey, and FaZe will take P2 after a lovely little move using on the DRS zone. It looks like it's Frarbide that is got caught on the start finish straight, and he is out of the race. That's a shame for him. Ooh, Yari getting quite close to the ball there. I don't think he touched it though. Ooh, Yari has hit the wall that time though. And he's lost a lot of his front wing as a result. And that's probably going to mean he's going to have to pit if he's lost a lot of it. And this is going to be easy pickings for Witcher as Too Late Mate now pits. So Yari does pit and Witcher staying out, of course, because he's already just pitted a lap ago. Interesting to see a few people actually opting for the medium tyres, so I'm assuming it's a two-stop strategy that they will be doing. And so the GOAT is gaining on Witcher, and on the faster compound of tyre on those mediums. It's going to get past Witcher here. And Max Strong might get past him as well. Not quite enough, he just needed another little bit of a straight to get that move done. Oh, Witcher giving Max the proper squeeze there as he was trying to go on the outside of the Alfa Romeo. And he will get the move done now. And the two Max move up to 4th and 5th respectively. Meanwhile, looks like Made in Turkey's having a proper battle with Vice Sheng here as they swap positions. So at the moment, the only two cars yet to stop is FaZe Pantera and LT Rocker. Of course, LT Rocker on the hard tyres, meaning he's probably not going to jump in the pits for quite a while. FaZe Pantera probably will pit. Well, it'll be interesting to see if he's going to try and stretch these mediums long enough to get onto soft. It would be a big ask though. Excuse me. Or if he is going to jump onto hard tyres in a couple of laps time, we'll see. But everyone else has pitted. But it's interesting for me to see a lot more drivers than I would have thought jumping onto medium so early and doing the two-stop strategy, but suppose it is much quicker. You're on quicker tyres, and these guys are so consistent and don't make too many mistakes that they probably have the skill and the pace to do that strategy. Meanwhile, Too Late Mates getting a bit held up by LT Rocker here. Be interested to see how hard the Renault driver fights against Tool once they get onto the DRS into the DRS zone, because of course they are effectively not racing each other at the moment. He's got a very nice gap to the GOAT has Too Late Mate as well. It's so perilous going. I think that's 10-15. You know, even if you get that wrong just by the tiniest little bit, and you're in the wall, and you just can't afford to get any front wing damage around here because of the way that how narrow the track is. And meanwhile, here we go, Too Late Mate, side by side of LT Rocker, but with the help of DRS and just using a little bit of his ERS, he will get past, and he's up to P2. As there's yellow flags in sector 2, and I think it's Harry Cully, and it is, he's lost it in the castle section, and he is out of this race. That's a shame, and luckily he ghosted enough because Dark was just coming through, and that would have been disastrous for him if he'd end up crashing into Harry's wrecked McLaren. So the closest battle at the moment looks like it is Carcraft versus Witcher. Carcraft's been on his hard tyres for one less lap than the Alfa Romeo just in front of which had gone onto the curb there. And that's cost him a little bit of time to Carcraft, who's just got a little bit closer. The good thing for Witcher is that there isn't anywhere that he can be overtaken. As there's more yellow flags this time in sector 1, and it looks like someone has gone off to the runoff area, and it looks like it's a Ferrari, and I think it was Aero Blake, but it looks like he's got the car going again. Oh, Carcraft's hell of a corner cut that. He's definitely got a warning from that. Luckily it looks like he had at least one warning spare before he gets a penalty. But Carcraft will now, he'll have some of his DRS to use, but he'll also get DRS on Witcher. And which way is he going to go? He's going to fly past him. And Carcraft is now up into P5. Nice little overtake there. Meanwhile, Max has decided to pit. Ooh, Witcher had to be careful there. Just turned in a little too early and had to just correct it to avoid hitting the inside barrier in that dreaded castle section. Hello, Rybro. How are you doing, mate? Have you been at work today? But at the moment, no one really close to each other. Everyone's pretty spaced out. As looks like FaZe Pantera has pitted. And there's more yellow flags in Sector 2 this time. Looks like it's a Ferrari again. And Aero Blake, I don't think for the first time, is the culprit losing the car. Have matey busy boy these next couple of weeks. That's a shame to hear, right, bro. Hope they're not overworking you too much. As Aero Blake lets Yari go, he must have some front wing damage, so fair play to Aero for doing that. Meanwhile, FaZe Pantera is getting close to overtaking Witcher. He's come out of the pit into P5, so it's been a good stint from him. As he can now go to the end on those hard tyres. Bear in mind he doesn't get any damage. Who's lost it now in Sector 1? It looks like it's a racing point. Ooh, and Mercedes had to be really careful as he was pushing Witcher for a moment there. Luckily no harm done. And I think it's got to be Penna that has lost it. And is going very, very slowly. So he'll be shuttling off to the pits if he's got some front wing damage. So who's yet to... So only one person yet to pit yet, and it is still LT Rocker, who is currently in P2. And it's proven to be a good strategy for him. But we'll talk more about that in just a second, as looks like the AlphaTauri is going to be able to get past Witcher here. He's got DRS. He's not using much of his DRS. He's trying to preserve it. And knowing Witcher, he'll make this as difficult as he can. But FaZe Pantera gets the inside line, and Witcher has to jump in behind him. Although Witcher will get DRS himself this time, but not got a lot of DRS, and FaZe will have, I think, will have enough to defend this. Although he's got one hell of a jump on him. He'll have to go the long way round. There's just not enough grit for Witcher to get around the AlphaTauri, and he stays in P5. Meanwhile, the two Mercedes look like they're maybe about to scrap it out. Looks like Max might have a little bit more pace in his tyres. They'll go as he's just come out of the pits to jump onto hard, so probably his tyres are pretty cold. So we'll have to wait and see on that front. We'll jump a bit further up the road to Wei Sheng, who's, well, after having his pole position taken away from him, and he starts at the back, has moved his way up the field, pitted early, of course, onto those mediums, and has found himself now in P6, though he is going to have to stop again. And is he the next person to get past Witcher on this DRS zone? We'll wait and see. Hasn't got a lot of DRS to play with, but will help with DRS. It's just too powerful, and he is through to take P5 for now anyway. But I think Witcher may have been a little bit smart there, knowing that Wei Sheng's going to have to pit again anyway, and there's probably no point getting into a scrap there. Meanwhile, back to the two Mercedes. Oh, it goes... Oh, he's hit the wall! And then Max Young has lost it! He's put it in the wall! And a disaster for both Mercedes! As they're probably both going... Well, depending on how much damage the GOAT managed to pick up after hitting the wall. I know Max will definitely have to go into the pits. Will the GOAT, though? But that's an absolute disaster. Oh, and Wei Sheng had to bail out of that. He just... I don't know whether he wasn't expecting FaZe, or was it main Turkey to break as early as he did. They just completely caught him out, and correctly so. decided to bail out of going through the castle section and went into the runoff area. That was very quick reactions from the Williams driver. Fair play to him. Goodness me, though, that was frightening for a moment. So, FaZe Pantera into the pits, Vice Sheng into the pits as well. We knew that he was doing that anyway, so FaZe did get some, I think they did get some damage. So that's a shame for him. And he'll get his front wing changed. That's going to drop him a couple of places. Joe Royal goes through. Max is going to be jumping into the pits as well, I think. Such a shame for him. And meanwhile, the goat of anxiety stays out, so maybe his damage is not too severe, and he feels like he can, or maybe he wants a couple of laps to see how bad it actually is. So he'll stay in P6. Of course, in my own race, I ended up having a yellow right front wing, and I did 17 laps on that. I managed to finish P7 because I felt there's no point pitting. I was never going to make the positions back, so maybe Goat of Anxiety is thinking the same. But at the moment, out in front, Too Late Mate, he's just in a class of his own. Although he's currently on medium tyres at the moment, so he stopped once. I think he's probably gonna. Is he gonna have to stop again? I think so. It would be a huge task to get to the end on those mediums. So, but he has already got himself a 17-second gap to Carcraft, and I suspect it's going to be Soft he'll jump onto. So, Too Late Mate's in a phenomenal position to win this race. Yo, Aston, how are you doing, mate? Welcome to the stream. I hope you're well. Meanwhile, Maiden Turkey. He's currently got. Has he got a? I think it's a 3-second time penalty. But he's got a good gap to LT Rocker just behind him. But Maiden Turkey is probably going to have to stop again, as like Too Late Mate will. So right now, LT Rocker is actually in. You know, after doing that very long stint on hards, he's now on mediums that will get him to the end. You know, he's in a very good position to potentially get a wee podium here. At least, at the very least, maybe more, depending on what his pace is like. But Maiden Turkey on those medium tyres, which are trying to break the slipstream using the pit entry to do so. But Maiden Turkey is going to fly past him, and he is into he's up to P3. Speaking of people that are in great positions, Carcraft certainly is currently in P2 at the moment on hard tyres that he is going to go to the end on. But Too Late Mate has just pitted to get out in front of Carcraft, so it will depend on how quickly Too Late Mate can get those mediums up to temperature. But it looks like he's getting them up to temperature quite quickly, because he's already pulled off a a 1 second gap to Carcraft, and is pulling away even more now, and of course on the medium tyres as well. Ooh, Carcraft has to be careful he didn't lose the car there on the curb. And meanwhile we will jump back down on board with Dark, who's trying to get himself into the points positions. Strangely letting Max go, so I don't know whether something happened that he felt he had to let him go. I'm not really sure what happened, but either way, he's now down to P12. And there's a virtual safety car out. Who's that for? Who has just lost it? I'm not actually 100% sure. But the VSC is out. So where is everybody on track at the moment? I don't think there's anybody who's going to benefit from a free pit stop, if you like. But I think Joey Oil it might have been, because he's the one that jumped into the pits and onto soft tyres, so I don't know whether something's happened to him. As we do go racing once again, with 8 to 9 laps left to go. Yari on hard tyres, Aeroblake soft will be feeling a little bit sore now, and Aeroblake closes the door on Yari. Oh, and that's poor. That is poor. Gave Yari nowhere to go, and he's in the wall, and well, that's definitely the end of Yari's race. And I really do feel for Yari. That's just being completely squeezed from Aeroblake in turn 1, and then squeezed again, and knocks him straight into the wall, and Yari won't be happy with that. Meanwhile, LT Rocket just closing the gap to Witcher here. He's less than a second behind him now. So he will get DRS. He's not going to use the DRS, knowing that he's not quite close enough to make a move happen. As there's more yellow flags, and I'm not sure who it is that is going, who's crashed out. But it's another virtual safety car. I think it's Max actually that has retired, so it's not been a good day at all for Max. And Sten's also just retiring. And Yari's got himself a drive-through penalty for speeding under the virtual safety car, although he probably just wants to get back to the pit. And there's Sten, he's just lost it in turn 15. We've seen that a lot in the actual F1 during qualifying and the practices. And Yari's actually been disqualified now, and that's a shame. It's a real shame for Yari, that. As there's more yellow flags, I don't know what is going on. Now FaZe Pantera has retired from the race. It looks like he's just gone off the runoff area. Yep, you can see there, so whether he's retired or not. But this has just been... It's been a messy race, to be honest. But LC Rocker now has got at the back of Witcher, and he's going to fly past him to take P4, and now Maiden Turkey pits, so LC Rocker's going to soar past him, and he is into the podium positions now, is LC Rocker. But Witcher's still fighting him, and retakes that third position. And they both got equal ERS, so it's just in terms of this, can LT Rocket get past him with the tyre advantage? He's going to have to go the long way around, which is going to fight this a little bit. He'll have the inside line as well. They're side by side. Now LT Rocker will have the inside line, and there's a little bit of contact between the two, and LT Rocker gets it done, and he is up to P3 now. Oh, did Witcher hit the wall there? I don't know if it was Witcher or someone. I definitely had someone hit the wall there. No one's behind Witcher, so I don't know who it was. But yeah, with 6 laps to go, Too Late now got himself a 9-second gap to Carcraft, so he's going to win this race. And he's just got himself the fastest lap. So good stuff from Too Late, mate. And Carcraft has equally got a comfortable gap to LT Rocker. So it looks like that the current top 3 is who are going to be on the podium, unless Witcher can close the gap to LT Rocker, but his hard tyres won't be feeling the best now. Meanwhile, Vice Sheng trying to close in on the Goat of Anxiety, who I think is damaged still. Unless he hit the wall with the wheel and didn't get any. But here comes Vice Sheng, DRS open, flies past the mark, and he's up to P5 now. And Vice Sheng on those medium tyres, which is only a second or so up the road. You can actually see him just there, so he'll fancy himself to take P4 off Witcher in the next lap or so. But it's been a very long time since I've commentated SRL1, where I've seen so many DNFs in one race in the top tier. A lot of these drivers have not enjoyed driving around the streets of Baku at all. But Vice Sheng here, you'll get DRS on Witcher as well, Witcher weaving, trying to break the slipstream. But I think it's going to be a little bit hopeless, as here comes the Williams, and he flies past Witcher, and he takes P4. And Witcher just does seem like he's really struggling on these hard tyres, as he really is dropping back now at an alarming pace. As the Goat of Anxiety will probably be the next person to have a go at Witcher in that long DRS zone in Sector 3. Meanwhile, Too Late Mitch has picked himself up a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting, but I don't think that's going to affect him winning this race. But Vice Sheng has got a lot of pace here, and he's managed to get at the back of LT Rocker. Both these guys on the same type of time of medium tyres, and LT Rocker really didn't have a good exit out of the castle section. And I remember we were saying about, did someone have front wing damage? I wonder if it's LT Rocker might have some here. Because his pace is dropping off quite a bit here. And it's a shame, as it looks like Vice Sheng is going to fly past the Renault. I wouldn't take him there though. I'd be a bit more patient, and now they can go side by side. He hasn't got a lot of ERS, so he'll hold back to try and use DRS to get past him, and he will. Ooh. And switches lanes, and he gets past the Renault, and Vice Sheng from the back of the grid is now in P3. So 3 or 4 laps to go, and all the action is happening between third and 7th position at the moment. That's where all the battles are occurring. As Maiden Turkey here gets a much better exit than Witcher, and not somewhere he'll want to overtake the Alfa Romeo driver. He'll want to just hang back a little bit here and just be this close to him when they get into the DRS zone, which is just coming up after this turn. Oh, Maiden Turkey just losing the back end a bit there. That's to correct it, but no harm done. And he now is going to get a huge huge help of Slipstream and the help of DRS, and he used the last bit of VRS that he's got left to make sure that he gets past Witcher, and now he's up to P6. But with his penalties, with his 3 second time penalty, he'll need to try and increase that gap to over 3 seconds if he wants to finish ahead of Witcher in the standings. Oh, and the goats hit the wall into the castle section. Oh, well, if he didn't have damage, he definitely he definitely has a lot of damage, I should say. He will now, as we enter the last couple of laps of this race. And there'll be music to LT Rocker's ears because the goat was putting some pressure on him. But he will open his DRS here and try and still get past LT Rocker nonetheless. And he does get past the Renault driver. So maybe did he hit the wall with the tyres? I'm not too sure because he still seems to be getting around the corners better than LC Rocket is. As Joe Royal pits, obviously, which is strange, considering there's only 1 lap or so to go. I don't know whether he's retiring or not. No, I think he's going to push on another pair of soft tyres to try and get the fastest lap. Might as well, I suppose. It's not been the best of races for Joe. But this little trio that we're seeing here are going to be battling out for the last lap and a half or so that we have left in this race. And as you can see on your screens up ahead, Too Late Mate now has almost a 15-second gap to Carcraft. It's frightening pace that he has. He has absolutely smashed the field today as Too Late Mate. But let's see, LT Rocker wants to fight Goat of Anxiety, but he also wants to defend against Maiden Turkey's went to the final lap. Main Taki, ooh, I think he was trying to send it, and he just tapped the wall there into turn 1, and that'll affected him. If he got a lot of damage. But LT Rocker, is he going to go for it on the goat? No, he's not quite got enough room. And so they're going to have to wait for the end of the lap. But, oh, here goes LT Rocker, actually. Incredible. He's not hanging around. Oh, they go side by side, LT Rocker. Trying to make it say goat goes, no, I'm not letting you take me there. And closes the door on the Renault driver. But we're going to jump on board until they may just for a second, because we haven't really featured him because he's been so far ahead. But absolutely sensational stuff. He's been in a class of his own. And he's such an impressive driver. So fair play to Too Late Mate. He does win this race. Carcraft is going to come across the line next. A very good drive from him as well. Well away from a couple of seconds away from Wei Sheng. He takes P2. But meanwhile, can LT Rocker? Can he get past the goat here? Going onto the start and finish straight. It's a drag race, matey Taki. Is he going to be able to do something? And they come across the line. And he just holds on the goats to keep all the P4. LT Rocker P5. Maiden Taki P6. Witcher takes P7. Meanwhile, Joe Royal is going to be the next one to cross the line to take P8. And then we've got a couple more cars left to come across the line. Joe, well done. He got himself the fastest. That'll be an extra championship point for Joe. Fair play to him. But, yeah, wow. What a drive from Too Late Mate. Too Late Mate and Carcraft, both were terrific out in front, even though they were 14 seconds apart from each other. They were my standout drivers. They were terrific. Wei Sheng did well as well, fighting from the back to take P3. The Goat of Anxiety took P4, and I'll run the rest of the grid in just a moment. And that is the end of this race. It's very difficult to describe. If I'm being honest, driver date's been given to Wei Sheng. So well done to him from that. I guess he would be mine. I guess it would be hard to not give him it. I'm personally just going to have one person in the press room today. And it's going to be Too Late Mate. I thought he stayed out of trouble and just showed absolute class. So, Too Late Mate, you're going to be the one person I'm going to in the press room. You're my driver today and the race winner. You were a class of your own, mate. So well done to you. I'll just run through the final standings. So Too Late Mate took P1. Carcraft was terrific stuff, qualified P2 and finishes P2. Wei Sheng, terrific stuff, P3. Goat of Anxiety, after pole position, managed to dropped down to P4, still decent race though from him. LT Rocker, P12 to P5, very good stuff from him. Maiden Turkey as well, P10 to P6. Witcher was going well, but his pace just dropped off a little bit on those hard tyres, and just the last 5 to 10 laps just spent the time defending and just dropping down, but still decent stuff from him. Joe Royal from P5 to P8, but got the fastest. That's well done to him. And Dark and Aero took the final points positions. And Penna, the only person outside the top 10 to finish. And everyone else DNF'd as well. But that is it from me here. It's been a real pleasure to commentate for you guys today. And I hope you'll have a great week. And take care. Ta-ra.